A very, very, very good morning to all our dear educators. I'm Rishali Sheth, co founder of Orange Slates, and we begin with our Festival of Learning, second edition of LearnFest 2022. It's a lovely Saturday morning, and we are super excited to bring to you our first panel discussion. And the topic is something which is really, 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 really close to all our hearts. It is creating the culture of innovation. And for that, I'd like to introduce our moderator for today, Dr. Pramila Kudva. She introduces herself as an education innovator. So she's the best person to moderate a session where it is creating the culture of innovation in your classroom. She is ex-principal of Pawar Public School. She is rated as one of the top 100 mentors of the country by AIM Awards 2016, has been awarded Best Educationist Award in 2017 for Excellence in Education by International Business Council, New Delhi, Principal of the Year, Plan Leadership Award 2018, National Responsible Educator Award 2018-19 for Outstanding Community Service by Behatar India. We welcome you for the panel, Dr. Pramila. It is a pleasure to have you, and we are really, really humbled by your presence. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now let's welcome our panelist. Our first panelist, Dr. Manjeet Lega. She is a seasoned education management and leadership development professional with 20 plus years of experience in curriculum, school leadership, teacher training, and development. Holds a postgraduate degree in English honors, which is a gold medalist. She's a gold medalist, and awarded the honorary doctorate for exemplary work and research in education, particularly early childhood. Associated with schools and edtech platforms to cater innovative teaching learning methodologies. A YouTuber creating 100 plus innovative stories, learning content for children, parents, and teachers. Served as director for academics and trainings with Little Millennium Group of Schools for 10 plus years. Dr. Manjeet Lega, over very, very good morning. Thank you so much for being here. Next, we have Navinder Kaur Rooprai.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Manjeet ma'am. Navinder Kaur Rooprai, she is highly experienced in e-learning and development programs in school institutes, creating the highest level of customer satisfaction and great teaching learning experience within the classroom. Strong understanding of education technical needs and implementation approaches. Have 18 plus years of experience in roles that involved education program design and development, delivery in school teaching, e-learning, ICT in education, pedagogical interventions, teacher professional development programs, school audits, school support, etc. Key strengths lie in good knowledge of pedagogical interventions and teacher capacity building. She also is an instructional designer. Tech enhanced education initiatives is her core. Hello, Navinder ma'am. Welcome
Hello.
for the
Thank
session.
you. Thank you, Vishali.
Next, we have is Pooja Ghai. She's a coordinator at Jesus Sacred Heart School, Ludhiana. Having teaching experience of 12 plus years, she has been training as personality development trainer for young minds to attain their best personality skills. Adorned by success of winning the Most Creative Teacher Award and Outstanding Delegate Award of Modern Youth Model United Nations International Conference. She's a blogger and she believes in fresh flowing water rather than being stagnant. She keeps on moving and learning. She's a lifelong learner. Hello, Pooja ma'am. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Vishali ma'am. That was lovely introduction. Thank you for having me here. I'm really honored.
Thank you, Pooja ma'am. And of course, last but not the least, Miss Uma Ramesh, Head Curriculum of TVS Group of Schools. TVS Group of Schools are under Lakshmi Vidya Sangam Madurai. All schools are developed with lofty ideals of serving student cause and giving the future society worthy citizens. Uma ma'am's working with schools to make ideas come true. Rich experience of working with primary grade math teacher to a principal for 8 years in one of the schools under LVS. She is currently hand holding all the institutions. Her passion to work with school children and now leaders to nurture them in developing the ideas and future nation. To grow, one needs to read and explore, and this would help reach success, is her motto. Hello, Uma ma'am. Thank you for being here.
Hello. Thank you for being here and thank you for inviting me for this Learner Fest, Vrishali ma'am. I'm really excited to be a part of this team.
Thank you so much, and we are excited to have you all here. So I hand over the baton of LearnFest to Dr. Pramila Kudva. Pramila ma'am, over to you, and thank you so much once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Vrishali. I hope everybody can hear me. Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So without wasting any more time, let's plunge into the topic. The topic is very, very interesting, and I'm gaga over it. This is something that we've been waiting for the past 30 odd years, a change that we have been looking for, and it's finally here. So let me just start by giving you a brief overview of what innovation is all about. Innovation, to my mind, is a change in the process, in the idea, in the outlook, or in the product. It could necessarily be progressive. It need not necessarily be progressive. It might fail. That's fine too. Now, what leads to innovation? Let me go back to the cliched word. Necessity is the mother of invention. When you need something, you work at it. You look for it. That was the reason the wheel was invented. That was the reason the fire was discovered. That was the reason the industrial revolution happened. And that was the reason the current educational system that we have was introduced to us by the British 300 years ago. What was their need? They ran an empire without computers, without telephones, without airplanes, on chits of paper, and everybody, whether you're in India or in Canada, if you were to take out one person from India, put him in Canada, he would seamlessly get into the groove of things because that is what they wanted. They wanted somebody who would be following the instructions given, and assembly line production was what they believed in. And that's what we had. For 300 years, the British have left, the empire has collapsed, but we are still following the same educational system. Ability to memorize, quick recall, long retention, speed of writing. That defines our examination system also. Now let's look at some of the shortcomings of our educational system. What is it? Do we want our children to follow the instructions of the teacher and the teacher says, keep quiet and listen to what I have to say? That's not what we want. We want children to be thinkers. Do we want our children to be defined by the by the percentage of marks that they get? So the parents can say 95 mila, 5 kidhar gaya? 98 mila, 2 kahan gaya? Does that define our children? Most definitely not. Teacher talk could be less. Children involvement could be more. Currently, our educational system does not have any scope for differentiation. It does not have any scope for scaffolding. One size fits all, unfortunately. So we expect the new educational policy 2020 to bring in some amount of change and get our children to be independent thinkers. Now, there are several skills that the teachers need to learn. They have to embrace several skills. They have to learn, to relearn, and unlearn some of the things. So that is going to be a humongous task. Having said this, I also want to bring to your notice what is happening in Japan. The Japanese believe that every individual has a right to innovate. Innovation and creativity to them go hand in hand. Last year, Subaru had 108 written new ideas per employee. 108 written ideas by employee. And some of these, I believe, could be fitted on a post-it. So it need not be a long list. It could be short, yet worthwhile. And these 108 ideas by each employee saved the company $4,000 per employee, which also means that the suggestions given were paid attention to. Now, India has proved COVID has helped us to march into technology. Just a little while ago, we were discussing how the technology has probably moved in the past 2 years and achieved what we would have achieved in the next 5 years. Teachers who didn't know how to make a PowerPoint today talk about, oh, stream that thing. Don't give it another thought. It is streaming. So we have moved. Our vocabulary has changed. Our thinking pattern has changed. But does it change for all? That is what we need to see. Now, finally, Azim Premji Foundation is making research, is doing a lot of research on teacher effectiveness. So there are organizations which are looking into it, and all is not difficult to achieve. Final, before I hand over to the panelists, what is required for a free flow of ideas? Free flow of ideas requires freedom of speech, freedom to ideate, and ideas to be valued. There are many more challenges which I'm sure you have faced, and we will waste no time in discussing that. Now, before I pose the question to the first person, Uma, you will be the torchbearer. Before I pose it, one word of caution for all. Try to restrict yourself to 5 minutes. So then it becomes easy for us to accommodate many more questions, and we'll be able to deliberate on the topic, because it's a huge topic and it's the most relevant and critical as far as all teachers are concerned today. So my first question to you, Uma, there it comes. Let's quickly discuss what challenges you have heard, seen, or faced in implementing innovation in classrooms.
So thank you, Dr. Pramila, for setting the context. So before going into the challenges, I think once again, all of us will recall, and we are all aware that the world around us is constantly changing, and trends become increasingly fickle things. What was trendy yesterday has become outdated today. So to begin, let us focus on the critical element, that is, how are we going to equip our children for future? Doctor was talking about the mark-oriented system or whatever it is. So how are we going to make our learners future ready? So, and the other important thing, each child that we create has to be a confident, competent, and also contributing members to the society. So our learners must be able to think and learn differently as innovative individuals. That means innovation should become the culture. Now, we are all aware of the challenges. So what are all the challenges that we face? You all should know, basically I'm a teacher and I'm working with teachers. So we know teachers' workload is something that causes a lot of strain. See, during online, they had to prepare PPTs and then they have to prepare for the classes, engaging students. Workload has become an issue. And teachers have to do a lot of data handling. And the other important point is I have to complete the syllabus, right? And then it's a mark-oriented society. Certain teachers are still holding on to conventional teaching methods and availability of time. You all must be aware during these 2 years of pandemic, government posed a lot of restrictions on the screen time for students. So availability of time was a challenge. Curriculum overload, and certain teachers are not aware of effective strategies and methodologies as how I can bring innovation in the classroom. Other major element is time management, and one of the hard press no like issue the hard pressing issue is the number of sent children, that is the special education needs children are growing in number. So with all these challenges, see, I'm basically a max teacher. I see this as an universal set of challenges. So how are we going to, in spite of all these things, how are we going to make our students as innovative individuals? How do we make them think, and how do we make innovation as the culture? Yes, ma'am.
So, how do you reduce this workload then? How can you help them to cope with it? You talked about stresses and strains of the teachers.
Yeah.
How would you do that? How did you do it in your institution?
Yeah, that's what, like I'm going to answer in my second part. See, actually we brainstorm for a lot of strategies. See,
Yes.
we reduce the workload of teachers in terms of combining teachers and giving them a different approach where the repetition of concepts and certain things could be avoided. So we brainstormed a lot of strategies, and one of the strategies that worked well and which helped us, maybe I will be talking about it little like a few minutes from now, that we did. And we
Now,
also identified, sorry ma'am, yeah.
you can say it now, Uma, because the point
Yeah.
is relevant right now.
Yeah, that's right. See, we talked about integration. See,
Yeah.
we brought integrated teaching. What we did is we brainstormed a lot of themes, okay, and then we brought integration. See, through that integration, one minute, ma'am. We also made learning, student friendly. 1 minute, ma'am. Yeah. So what we did is we synthesized the learning, like in the sense we made all the learning experiences together that were mutually reinforcing for students. So we devised a lot of projects, themes, and also topics that reflect students' interest. For example, I can show maybe a few themes where we incorporated cartoon characters. Just give me a minute, please.
We'll do that little later. This is good enough.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
Um,
one thing, what we are successful is our integrated teaching. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
okay. Now, what I also understand from you is that you have got the teachers to collaborate. So there is
Yes.
some peer learning that you have introduced, is
Peer
it not?
learning, yes. Yeah. And we also identified a good teacher. That is one teacher who will do the technology part of it. One teacher will be doing the teaching. The other teacher will be as an assessor. So like that, we identified teachers who could do different roles and who are strong in that roles. So that also helped us. And as you say, there was a lot of collaboration and there was a lot of peer learning happening.
All right. So the next, Manjit, would you like to speak about your experiences?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. So, first of all, a very, very happy June morning to all the industrious and gorgeous educators over here. Why I use the word industrious is because had it not been for that adjective, you wouldn't be here listening about innovation, which is the next big thing that we are gunning for in our education system. So now, as what my peers said, innovation is equal to growth. Innovation is equal to change. Innovation is equal to disruption. So when we attach these three adjectives to innovation, there are bound to be challenges. Why? Because all of us are not ready for change. Very, very few of us are ready for change. few of us are ready for change. So, what are the challenges that one faces? I'm going to cover in two aspects. Firstly, as a teacher, and secondly, as a teacher trainer. Hmm? So, as a teacher, I feel one of the biggest challenge I face, in addition to what ma'am already covered, was problem of time management and also the size of your classroom. Obvious challenges over there. The third is, I feel lack of role models. Our teachers lack role models. Tomorrow, if I want to do certain innovation, I want to think innovatively, introduce something, I really look for a role model. I feel despite the humongous work being done, our teachers definitely lack role models. Another very key thing which I have found in, during my years as a teacher was the fear of failure. So, the fear of failure holds me back from innovation, from doing something new, from trying out something new. So, in a nutshell, these are the four top points of mine, which are the challenges faced by a teacher. Now, let me come to the challenges faced as a teacher trainer. When I go across and talk about innovation and coach about innovation, the first biggest challenge is the mindset. Most of the teachers assume innovation is equal to technology. Innovation is That's not my job. Innovation is technology's job. So, my dear teachers, educators, I sincerely feel that yes, innovation is 50% technology and 50% psychology. We need to get our mindsets attuned towards the seed called innovation. We've got to be ready to innovate, to think out of the box, or rather to create a new box altogether. So, mindset is a huge, huge challenge. Then, another thing which I come across is, a lot of teachers come out and say that this is not in my KRA, right? My KRA is the curriculum and get good results. Innovation ka beech mein, time nikalo, manage karo the whole class and etc. etc. Ma'am, is it necessary? What's going to come out of it? Am I going to be awarded for innovation? A very common problem which I face, right? And the other thing added to that is, when you get freshers out of these B.Ed colleges or NTT courses and all that, we don't teach that subject called design thinking to them. We feel that design thinking or thinking innovatively or thinking creatively is only for the IITs, right? It is only perhaps, okay, I want to extend it, it is for the IIMs, right? But it is for a teacher as well, right? Because innovation is not a privilege of the few. Till such time it becomes a commodity of everyone, only then can we bring about a revolution. Only then can we bring about a change. And the last thing is also, something like an oxymoron. So we want to bring about innovation, we want to innovate, but you got to understand, dive deep into the subject and understand what needs to change. The common sentence which I use for telling my teachers is, what is not broken need not be fixed. Right? Not everything will also need to be innovated. When do you change your phone? When it starts giving you trouble, isn't it? When do you change the fridge in your house? When it starts giving you trouble. So similarly, something which is giving you trouble, which can't be managed, which you can clearly see, that it needs to evolve. That is where innovation comes in. Innovation is not simply the changing of a book cover. So you need to understand, go into depths of design thinking. What are the principles? Identify the needs of innovation. So these are the common challenges topmost on my list. The list is endless, but we have paucity of time. So these are my points, ma'am. Over to you, Dr. Pramila.
Yeah, several points you brought to the forth. And one of the things that you made really drove home the fact that we never teach our children how to face failure. Success, nothing breeds like success, we say. Nothing fails like failure, we say. Now, I think the time has come where we need to teach our children and our teachers that failure is the stepping stone to success. It's all right if you fail, try. That might bring in the kind of mindset that you were talking about. It Nothing wrong in trying out. I believe the Australian Army does not hire anybody till they have failed sometime in life. Because only when you fail do you rise yourself. Now we can go on talking about it. The next one is, I think, Navinder.
Thank you, Pramila ma'am. Very fresh morning to everyone. I have also chosen this word fresh very selectively because it is a fresh mind that will bring in the change, the topic for the today that we have innovations in the classrooms. So I hope all my participants have come up with a fresh mind and learn about what needs to be done and implement in the classroom what we discussed today. It is so important when you are here, we are into a mode where we are listening and writing notes and implementing. So for me, innovation in classroom only happens when there is a collaboration, there is a connectivity, there is a creation of something, something that we call it as an idea, something that we call it as an answer, something that we call it as an end product, which can be anything as a project, as an experiment, anything that we talk about. So innovation for me here means that the teachers, this goes for both teachers and the student, they have to first of all develop their competencies, the competency for creativity, competency for collaboration, and competency for persistence. If we don't have this basic competency, no matter whatever we are listening or whatever we are going through, we will not be able to implement. So I think so this is the major challenge that we have, lack of competency. Then also that we have is the kind of question we ask. We never ask questions on what if, how and why. We always say that students should give us the answers, but why can't a student can give us a good question also? Because innovation always happen when there is a trigger of question in mind. Only then you will be collaborating, you will be creating. So that is an important factor that I want to bring this about. Also, when I talk about engaging the engagement in the classroom or innovations in the classroom, it is more towards the reflection and inquisition of going deeper into the concepts. So are we making our classroom reflective classroom? So that is again something that we all need to know, because I think, because when I go for my classroom audits, this is the major thing I think my teachers are failing upon. They don't reflect on themselves, they don't allow the student to reflect on their own learning. The inquisition is not there. It means the curiosity to learn more, to go beyond the textbook is not there. So that is something which is a base for the innovation in the classroom that we are talking about. Also, sometimes what happens, there is a lack of pedagogical interventions or innovations. We keep on doing the same, kind of reading a chapter, or same kind of doing any maths problems. We don't innovate. My dear teachers, it is a time when our students need innovation, because those learners are the one who are more of visual learner, and especially in last 2 years when we had gone visual everywhere, online classes, my students have changed. So you need to really innovate, bring ideas for the students to interest into that subject. And sometimes we say my child is not good in maths, my child has a fear of history. Don't you think we need to innovate as a history teacher, as a maths teacher? Because this is the time where our students need different kind of learnings, different kind of teaching resources. So that is also one of the challenge that I find when I go for audits, that teachers are not making teaching resources good enough, customized to their classroom needs. So I think so that is some points that I want to highlight from Ina ma'am to begin the session. Thank you.
Thank you. A couple of things came to mind here, that you talked about teachers not being able to use the resources properly. The teachers, the maths teacher, for instance, that brings to mind an anecdote. There is this particular nurse. This is something that happened in the United States. She joined a course and she had to do some statistics. She had a mortal fear of mathematics. And 6 months down the line, she was enjoying the course. How did the change happen? The change happened because the teacher took the effort to bring in an interest, an element of curiosity, and innovate, teach, use different techniques to teach the same concept. So, as teachers, we are the captain of the ship and we have the control. This is what we need to remember. And somewhere, somewhere, we are the architects of the future. The next question to the last person here, Pooja.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, all yours.
First of all, I'm really saying that my all co-panelists, they have rightly touched the points that yes, there are many of the hurdles in innovation when we are getting it, trying it to get it done into the classrooms. And as an educator, I completely agree with this factor. That yes, many of the schools are still existing where over occupancy of teacher is one factor, as ma'am said. Then reluctance amongst them that why to try something new, that is also second factor, right? Then not using some audiovisual things which are available but still not to use them, that is also one of the factor. And time management wherein teacher is always running after completing the syllabus. So of course yes, these are all main factors which we can say that yes, calculating uh, the reason behind that why innovation is not happening into the classroom. But here, my dear friends, I would like to bring forward one more reason, and that is a little silent, but it's very important. And that role is being brought up by the role of parents. Yes, I completely feel that to some extent, maybe it's a classroom, but to some extent role of parents is equally important over there. Reason behind, maybe if all of the factors which we have talked about, but okay, maybe the teacher is getting done all the innovation into the classroom, maybe students even if they are not reluctant in getting done the things, or teacher is not reluctant in getting done or trying out the new things, and maybe the school is facilitating everything, maybe time is also getting managed, but still there is something which is missing, and that is the role of parent. When parents, they are not trying to engage the students, their children, right, into the correct path, rather than they'll feel like that okay, if some traditional homework is being given to the students, which is something learning from the books, right, that is more easy, more convenient for them to get it done, right? On other side, if teacher is just trying, I'm just taking a simple example, if just teacher is trying to give some homework through a Kahoot app, right, some quiz is being done, and if parent is not aware about that app, parent would start craving, start creating a fuss that why, what is happening, what is this new thing, why you are not following the books, or why you are not getting done the text. So what is happening there? The learning is getting harder, so the learning is not happening in that innovative manner the way a teacher wants. Right. So there, of course, the availability of that parent is equally important because of their own busy schedule. They feel like that our children should get only those things which are easy to get it done and which are easy to remember or learn so that they can, score well into their exams. So I'm not saying that all parents are getting it done. Of course, nowadays many of the parents, they are very much concerned also, but to some extent that reluctance is there existing into their minds as well. Maybe even they are putting their children into the best of the school and the best of the system is happening over there, but still what is happening at home, that is equally important, because education is not only happening in the school hours, it is happening equally at the home also. So that is also equally to be considered. So it's a collaborative effort of the school system, of the teachers and the parents. Only then we can frame a successful mindset or a successful future of our children, so that they can indulge themselves into more innovative ideas. They feel that yes, they are more connected, they feel like that yes, our parents are also they are putting some interest into it, teachers are also available for every sort of sorting out queries, so that is why we can comprehend our ideas too. So rather than calling our children that they are digital rebels, or some of them, they have been called cyber wanderers. So rather than calling them with these names, let them just give that platform in those innovative manner, so that that learning should happen. And then maybe it is happening at school, or maybe it is happening in the home. So both places are equal. Of course, the efforts needs to be put up, and that effort has to happen from every angle, whatever angle is connected with the child. That's all for now for this.
So, with online teaching, one of the challenges that the teachers had to face was the parental interference.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
So, the parents were hovering around like helicopter.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
so true.
And
Even, yeah, even ma'am, even in examination, we all know this fact. This is really a bitter truth. Even during examination, parents are more concerned that their children, they are in their custody, so they are free to, train them in this way, that you go
yeah,
and do
let's
cheating
visit
and all
that
this
later.
stuff. Yeah, they are
Yeah,
allowing them to
visit
do
that
all these
later.
things. So that is
Yeah.
equally important, that they need to be considered.
Coming back to you, Pooja, no, you mentioned that parents, you have to take the parents on board and when get them to work in tandem with the school. So all three stakeholders are working together in tandem. Now there are. Do you also have right to education parents in coming to your school?
Of course, ma'am, of course. In fact,
How do
if
you
I
deal
talk,
with them? How do you deal with them? Because they will not be having different gadgets for different children, right?
no,
How do you
that
deal with them?
yes, I completely agree, ma'am. It's not always important that they should have, good gadgets with them or good devices, because the things are not starting from the gadgets and devices. The things are starting from the mindset, the adaptability of that, the acceptance that yes, this is required. The moment the mindsets are acceptable for the requirement of today's time, for the requirement of these innovations to happen into the lives of their children, the things will become easier. We don't need to provide them gadgets, we don't need to give them, any digital training. We just need to train their mindset, that you accept those all tools, accept that learning to happen into the lives of your children, which is being even by trained by educators, or even if it is even self learning. So their mindset needs to be trained. That's it.
So, in other words, would it be in order to say that you are looking at developing a growth mindset among the children?
Yes, of course, of course, of course. Not
For
only
the parents?
children, not only children, amongst the parents too.
Okay. So now, if I were to take a little step beyond the growth mindset, I think the time has come, looking at the arson and looking at all the fighting that is happening over things in a secular country. I think if we were to look at the benefit mindset, if teachers could go walk that extra mile and teach the children, war is not for us. Let's work together. Let's try and be good to one another. These are some of the values I think if we can develop, we may be a better country. Anyway, on that note, we'll now move on to round two. I have been putting in my little bit in between, so I'm not going to spend any more time summarizing it. Let's go to the next round. Uma, the next question to you would be the big buzzword today is
Yep.
integration. Does it mean reducing our curriculum? How do we ensure that integrated approach trickles down to the last teacher in India?
Okay. Uh, See, I talked about this integrated approach in the beginning. So you may think, what is new? We are already doing this integrated approach. You are partially correct. But what we did is how we can make this integrated approach an innovative approach so that students are able to think and maybe ask a lot of questions. See, during this online teaching, we were not able to get the attention of students. The video was switched off and only the audio was on, and they never participated in learning. We faced a lot of issues like others. I think globally that was the issue. Okay. So what we did is what we thought, see, initially we started, we had certain expectations in mind. Our expectation was how we can save time and at the same time provide experiential learning to children, and how are we going to make a positive learning atmosphere and at the same time collaborative learning environment, and how we are going to make the learning related to the local problems or the real world problems, and how do we intrinsically motivate students and at the same time making students to develop thinking skills and higher order thinking skill. That was, see, we had this as the byproduct of the approach. Okay. And then we customized the curriculum. Okay. And as you say, a lot of engagement was needed on the part of the students. See, it was a teacher dominated classroom because she had a PPT. So she was busy explaining the PPT, things like that. And children did not have connection between what was learnt in math and what was learnt in science. They were not able to see the connection. So what we wanted is how children can make connections at the same time they can make their learning should be more natural, and they should enjoy learning, and they should own the process of learning. So what we decided is, like, maybe I'll share just some 4 slides with you. Just 2 minutes. See, I just want to share with you as what we did and how our approach of integrated teaching we developed. See, I'm just going, is the screen visible to all of you?
No.
Is the screen
Yes.
visible? Yeah.
Yes.
So integrated syllabus, this is what we customized and then we got. This we made it for class 1. Okay. So class 1, we had it as fact and fiction. Okay. And then we connected it to a lot of this cartoon characters. Okay. So here I have added a little bit of animation. So month of June, we had Chota Bean, and usually children will be learning about family tree. They will be talking about their parents. So it is me and my family. This is for the month of June. And month of July, we had it as Big Bugs Bunny. So life is to live. Okay. So what we did is like this, for each month, we had a theme, and then we also prepared a visual presentation. Okay. This, as a curriculum department, we did this. Okay. And see, at the end of the day, what do we want? Whether it is integrated approach or any approach, what do we want? We want the child to acquire learning, experience learning, and at the same time, age appropriate learning. Okay. So what we did is what they have in science and what they have in math and what they have in English. So everything was put together. Okay. So these some learning outcomes, and then see, you can see the human body, science of society, things like that, and what they had to do in English. So what we did after this, we converted into a week plan. But the methodology, the way they can engage children was left to the teachers. So we also integrated Montessori with this. And then how we planned to do Montessori during online is we asked the children to whatever things they have at home. With that, we wanted them to engage in activities. And then what we did is we also got the parents' support. We did an orientation for parents, because parents also understood that they were not taking part in learning, taking part or answering the teachers in the class. At the same time, they too wanted something that the children have to learn. So maybe I can proudly say, after a period of maybe 2 long years, we were able to see that children were able to make beautiful relationship between the content that they learned from different subjects, And we were, to a large extent, we were able to avoid repetition of concepts. Okay, repetition of concepts across subjects, and students were able to actively involve them in their learning process. And most of the learning was through projects, themes, topics, and then we collected the students' interest also, because the teachers knows the students. So this is how we did. And then it also like provided a deeper understanding of the content. For example, a child who was in class 3 in the year I think 1920, the next year the child was in class 3. Now this year the child is in class 4. Okay, initially we had a little bit of, it is not actually the test to find out what they are scoring, to get their understanding. We gave them a lot of multiple choice, and we also wanted them to answer, why are you choosing this? So we were able to conclude that children had in-depth understanding. So maybe I feel integrated approach is very, very important. Maybe as a curriculum head, I would know, like, maybe it is not advising, maybe I suggest that the schools could follow, and NEP also talks about this. So as someone is making a point here as voice and choice to the students, yes, we gave a lot of voice to the students, and I can vouch and say it was not a teacher dominated class. The teacher had a plan A and a plan B also. When plan B is when a child comes out with some question, the teacher was able to immediately interweave that into the like theme or something. And what we also did is we had a forum for the teachers where they come back. Maybe every fortnight we came back through Zoom, and then we were discussing about the positives and the challenges. So that also gave a lot of peer learning for the teachers and collaborative learning for the teachers. And I can say that this has been this is even into the system now, and teachers are happily doing this integrated approach. So these are all the things that we have explored, we have customized, and I can strongly and I can very happily say that this is working well in our school.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Um,
Yeah.
just to try and understand,
Yeah.
the neurologists, the
Yeah.
neuroscientists say that the synapses of the neurons, they
Yes.
connect the old and the new. So if you do
Correct.
not have
Correct.
an integrated approach, the chances
Yeah.
are that probably the old will remain old, the new will remain
And
new, and
yeah.
both may not join
Yeah.
together at all.
Yeah. See,
So
ma'am, here I can
integrated
also
approach.
add. Yeah.
Now, Uma,
Sorry,
just
ma'am.
a minute.
Yeah.
No, we are running short of time, so I need to pass
Okay.
on to the next candidate,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
analyst.
Surely, ma'am.
So,
Sure.
so
Yes, ma'am.
we'll
Yes,
come
ma'am.
back to it. Time permitting, we'll come back to it again.
Yeah.
Manjit,
Surely.
your turn.
Yeah.
Your turn. To ensure innovation, do we need to shift our hiring and organizational structures at school level? Innovation in 5+3+2+4 structure, how do we implement it?
Wow. Long question, ma'am, and the time is 5 minutes. बहुत ना इंसाफी है ठाकुर, but still I will try and attempt that, ma'am. And so when we talk about innovation, right? So innovation means to evolve. It means also affecting future trends, right? So obviously our hiring trends will have to take a relook. We do a great job of talking about attitude, aptitude, subject matter expertise when we hire our teachers, right? But now when we talk about moving into the next century, equipping our children with entrepreneurial skills and innovation coming in a big way, so what about these attributes for our teachers? A, curiosity. B, risk taking. C, ambitious. Yes, ma'am. So, you know, it is okay for our children to be ambitious. Why is it not okay for our teachers to be ambitious? A teacher who's not ambitious, how is she going to go into the risk-taking mode? Where does she see herself 5 years from now? Does she see herself as the same teacher in class 3B? happy teaching, maths, or being the homeroom teacher? Is that what she aspires for? Risk taking. To what extent? Give us an example. To what extent, are you willing to make a concept understood? Agar aap water cycle kar rahe ho, are you willing to take them out and, find out time for that and make them go through the whole process? If you're doing evaporation, whatever stuff you're doing, if you're doing science, to what extent are you willing to do that? Or are you just happy with the chalk and maybe the smart board at the max and then making the concept understood and saying, देखो grades तो अच्छे आ गए ना? That is what you should be bothered about, right? But what about the journey? What about the process? Because innovation happens in the process. Innovation is a journey, it is not a destination, right, ma'am? So curiosity, is the teacher curious? Does she ask you 10 questions about the school? What do you do for ECA? What do you do for music in children? Do you have a western band in your school? Do you have excursion to that village which is famous for planting a tree every time a girl child is born? Does she ask questions? As heads of institutions, do we have the appetite for absorbing such questions, first of all, such answers? And then, do we want to put them down? Most educators will say teachers ही इतनी मुश्किल से मिलती हैं. अरे बाबा, ये क्वालिटीज हम कहाँ से लेके आए? Curiosity, risk-taking, ambitiousness, right? So I feel definitely to some extent we should start putting them in, right? Then you said, ma'am, org structure में I feel we should give more autonomy to the teacher. Autonomy along with responsibility and accountability. Let the teacher be accountable for whatever happens in her class, right? What is that? The Japanese proverb, no? Fall down 7 times and get up 8. Do we
Yeah.
have the appetite for letting our teachers fall? If she tries for 6 times, do we let her do that? Or do we get balked down by the first complaint which comes in कि आपकी class में क्या हो रहा है? My child came back saying, I remember when the phonics had just started, when children went back home saying abacada, right? Most heads were balked by it. Okay, what are you teaching our children? It is ABC. What is abacada? है ना? And then that head of the institution, she had the appetite for innovation, she had the fortitude, the grit to say that we are teaching the right thing. Come to our school, we will also teach you how to approach phonics with children. So that is a huge responsibility. I feel as heads we should look into these kind of KRAs for our teachers, right? Then coming to the second part of your question, that implementing innovation in 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Okay, now first of all, I want to say, oh my god, the first bracket, 5 years, right? 5 years meaning class 1 and 2 included in foundation years, so which means that the magic continues to class 1 and 2. So most of us, at school do a fantastic job in the kindergarten. We have music, we have activity, we have dance, we have playway. And the minute, children step into class 1 and 2, we just get very, very serious. है ना? We get bogged down. And the children absorb that energy कि नहीं बाबा अभी serious time आ गया. Parents are in any case ever ready to say अभी serious हो जाओ, अभी class 1 में आ गए. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? कि अभी serious हो जाओ, class 1 में आ गए हो. That means music goes out of the window. That means rhythm goes out of the window, curiosity goes out of the window. What does, how do we do that? We have to remember and help our teachers, parents, all stakeholders remember that innovation is a whole school process, as my colleagues have been saying. We cannot have, that the Atal Tinkering Lab is only for class 7, 8, and 12, and music and dance is only for kindergarten and all. We have to merge. There are instances of schools who have introduced entrepreneurship right from class 1, right? So there are instances where children are doing, I remember one instance where SDG in kindergarten. So the teacher said, ma'am, they just laughed at me like that. ये कैसे हो सकता है, ma'am? SDG kindergarten में क्या जरूरत है? पूरी life पढ़ी and they will not understand. I said, no, let's go ahead and do the water footprint with them. Let's do water footprint and let us make them measure कि जब आप कार धोते हो vis-a-vis a hose pipe and a bucket, what is the ratio? Are you wasting water? Are you saving water? When a pair of jeans that you wear, how many buckets of water does it take to make one pair of jeans? Right? So go and count how many jeans do you have in your cupboard, right? Every child can count 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. Man, that means so much water I wasted. I don't think I need it. Right? So innovation is a seed. You can sow it. It's a way of thinking. As I said earlier, innovation is not technology. Innovation is psychology and technology. So the seed has to be sown right through from the first 5 years. Then it takes another turn. You have love of learning. Then in the next 3 years, class 3, 4, 5, there are a lot of whys they will ask. We have to satisfy their whys. They ask, why is this so? Why is that so? Right? So we have to satisfy that. The next 3, there is a hormonal dance, the preteens, right? They have a different set of world altogether. They're entering into the cyber world. So digital citizenship over there, entrepreneurship, as in real terms, as in money and profitability, innovation वहां पर आ जाती है. And then I feel in the senior section,
So
the teacher
I think
needs
we
to be
should
an
cut it short.
influencer.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So the last point, and over there, how do you encourage innovation? By being an influencer. That age group, you can't really tell children to do this and to do that. Be a role model, be an influencer. So that's how, the teacher can do that. And then, once everything that comes out from your mouth is, is like
Gospel truth.
done, is like done. So I rest my case over here, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you. You made a lot of valid points. You made a lot of valid points. One of the things that it came out loud and clear to me is that we probably need an orientation for the principals also. The principals need to be open minded.
Okay.
The principals need to be in a position to accept that if innovation has to happen, these are the things that we need to follow. If the free hand is not given to the teacher, like I said, abacada, what is this? So then that's the end of innovation.
Absolutely.
So I think somewhere the principals also need to be given a little bit of
Absolutely.
orientation. Yeah. So Navinder, we come to you now.
And also, ma'am, to just one sentence to uh, Pramila, ma'am,
Yeah.
just one sentence for our dear principals who are over there. They tend to get bogged down with that 120% of the documentation work and the, policies and processes. So they also need a recap session. We must include them in all our sessions. We
I
must
think
take them to the kindergarten
I
and we
think
must
we
take them to.
will. Sorry.
No worries, ma'am. That's innovation. You can get a call while talking.
No, but my phone is on airplane mode. Anyway, um, now I
And that
think
is technology,
raised by,
ma'am.
the question raised by you will be answered by Navinder. The question to Navinder: what do you think are the roadblocks of the current education system or the mindset that hampers innovation in classrooms? Now, 5 minutes, Navinder.
Right, ma'am. I'll try to complete all this in 5 minutes. To my all learning communities who are here, maybe the principals, maybe the management, maybe the director, maybe the chairperson, maybe the teachers. If I think so, if some parents, because we are mothers, we are a parent also. So it's for everybody. First of all, that we need to understand is the kind of curriculum that the school has adopted. See, the syllabus is something that is given by us by our councils, okay, whether CBSE, ICSE, or a state board or a IB board. But the curriculum is something that we as learning communities make. The teachers are part of it, the management is part of it, principal, supervisor, headmistress, all of them are part of it. Have we made our curriculum rigid enough? so that we don't try to innovate our own things. So that is the first point I want to bring here. Don't you think it's a roadblock that we need to make changes into our policies? We need to make changes into our teacher handbook, parent handbook, student handbook. That's an important thing that we all need to work on. I think so. All our schools have made teacher book when they initially started, maybe 20 years, maybe 15 years, maybe 50 years. So that is something that you all have to revisit. Your handbooks needs to be revisited. The handbook needs to be functional enough. It is not a document that you keep aside when you create. It should be functional enough to make changes every year, maybe every month, because innovations are happening so fast that maybe we need to revisit these manuals again and again, the policies that we are talking about again and again. The traditional report cards is a bigger roadblock because we all in the end work with our report cards. What is coming there? What grades are coming there? Okay, so that is needs to be changed. Your report card has to be more a happy report card, not only talking about grades but also about the holistic development of the child. Because as the aptitude of a child will increase, the innovation for the concepts, for ideas will also increase definitely. Whether like NAP has advocated for 360-degree report card, so have we implemented that yet in our classrooms, in our schools, or no? Because that is the greatest thing for any innovation to happen in the school. Also, if I talk about our assessments, have we worked on our assessment? Our assessment policies are so rigid. We are mostly into assessment of learning. Very few schools I visited where I've seen assessment for learning implemented in a great way, assessment as learning implemented in a great way. If I talk about assessment for learning, is it only the grade purpose I'm doing it? Or I am also looking at to the data analytics of that report that comes out. Maybe you don't need a software. If you have a software, great, but even an Excel sheet can be made by the teachers. We are all trained to use the Excel sheets that can be utilized for data analysis. Am I doing the data analysis rightly? Am I looking at whether my teachers are performing well, are working with good resources which are acquainted to the students' mindset? Am I as a data analyst looking into whether which are the topics my student are weaker? Most of my class have not answered well. Something innovation that I have to do into my content delivery, maybe my way of lecture delivery, maybe my resources. Maybe I need to make a field trip for making that content more exciting. Maybe some work that I can give as a collage, maybe a project based learning, maybe experiential learning. Am I doing it in the right way? These are some of the things that we need to think as a roadblocks. If I come to this, budgets is always a roadblock to us. But then I always say to my teachers, I have gone to the remotest of the school, remotest of the area where you don't even find a bus going there. I have been to those locations, and my best of learning experience has happened with those schools. Now I can see my teachers have created such a wonderful game boards for their students, and these game boards are not only for their junior classes, not only for the pre-primary, even for the senior classes also. An excellent game board can be done for geography, for map work. Excellent game board can be created for science experiments. Excellent game board can be created for your maths problem sums. So innovate, create some ideas. You have lot of things into Google. The only thing is we need to take some time because it is beyond our time factor. We don't search well. So searching is something as a greatest roadblock. We don't search well. Then if I talk about our lesson plans, now mostly in our school I always see my lesson plans are the documents to be approved by the HOD, and then you file it for inspection purpose. But don't you think lesson plan is something that need to be worked every day? Because if some of my learnings did not happen today, which I have written in my lesson plan, can I take it forward next day? Don't you think that I need to tweak my lesson plan for each program, for each topic that I am doing? Maybe a topic on digestion system was good enough because my students have been doing it from since grade 4, and I am a grade 8 teacher. I do not have to emphasize on digestive system more. Maybe can I keep my last two days in the week for more of experiential learning, more of debated discussion, more of going beyond the textbook? Because that is a chapter which I don't think so I need a longer concept explanation there. But maybe a chapter like plants and animal cell that I'm doing first time in grade 7, that needs more emphasis. So maybe, I need to plan my lesson plan. That is a major roadblock that I see in my teachers. Monologue is also there. Monologue. Teachers don't allow students to speak because in a hurry to complete the curriculum. But don't you think flipped classroom can be an idea here where it will help you to complete the curriculum more wisely? There is no need to spoon feed your students. They are good enough and they are mature enough. Even a grade 3 student can pre-read, can read the text. I should, as a teacher, keep 2 days at least for our activities, which where we need to work as a debate, as a debate forum or a discussion forum, where maybe my children have to do some research at home and come back, where we can see what researches my all other students have done. A collaboration work is so important. We are so rigid with collaborative projects because of classroom management. But my dear teachers, a constructive noise is always better. And I think so. I should, as a principal, should also allow sometimes a constructive noise from a class when they are working on any important aspect of research that they have done, because that is a great idea of innovation that we are talking about in a classroom. Not to forget about things like lack of stakeholders involvement. That is also a roadblock to us. We don't allow our parents to be part of our curriculum. Why can't we invite them as an expert of their own field? Maybe that will create a curiosity among our students to do well. They will create a curiosity among our students to learn, go deeper into that topic. Why can't I do that? We never invite our parents. We have around five, I may say, an average school will have 1,000+ students. So I have 1,000+ parents also with me. Why don't I judicially use that as a repository for creating innovations in our classrooms? That is something that we should look into. Also, if I talk about integration, so there has to be a horizontal integration, there has to be a vertical integration, and this integration is there from your pre-primary to grade 12. So if I'm talking about integration, why can't one day, at least one topic in a month, my all subject teachers, 5 subject teachers with non-academic teachers as sports teachers or music and dance teacher, librarians, why can't they all sit for one topic? If not every month, maybe one quarter. Why can't they sit together and integrate their thoughts into teaching that topic as unanimously for all the grades? We have never tried that. And I know some schools who have tried that. We have given training for this. They have tried it and the excellent results that they have used. Why can't we do this in our schools also? Again, the another roadblock that I can find is the rigidness into the teachers. Okay, the collaboration is missing. Any good lesson plan that I can make, I will not share with another teacher because then her class grades may grow high. Oh my God, what a thinking that we have. Now we are into a century where everything is available in Google. Okay, it's global world. And if you are not sharing, doesn't matter. My teacher will get it from any website, or if she is capable enough to research. Okay, it is a passion that you should have. You can research anything which your teacher has already created. So something that we need to do, a role model, mentor and mentee in the school is so important. In my teacher handbook, have I put this as a policy? Any new teacher who joins us, can we do that? You know why many of our corporates are doing well? Because they handhold the new employees till the time they are capable enough to work independently. Have we utilized that strategy into our schools? This is something that is a major roadblocks that our schools don't follow. These are the trips and
Ravinder,
tricks that we
Ravinder,
will
we
use.
need to really cut short
Yeah,
because
thank you,
people
ma'am.
are still
I'm
waiting
over
in
with
the.
this. I'm over with this.
Yeah. So, in other words, what you've been saying is you are taking forward what Manjit said. The principals are instrumental in ensuring that these things are workable. To some
Right.
extent, the responsibility rests with the principal. An open mind, freedom to the teachers, encourage collaboration, and ensure that innovation comes in and there is no micromanagement. When there is freedom, thoughts flow freely. So I think we come to the last speaker. We are really going a little behind schedule. Pooja, the question to you: how do we ensure that the teachers and the management embrace failures and come up with the best practices. Positively 5 minutes, please.
Okay, so I have the shortest time it means. Anyways, even I don't think so that I need much of the time to tell about this, because this is the thing which we are talking since beginning. This is the only thing which we are going to talk. We are talking since beginning. Now, what is happening? I'll just start up from the sentence where you left, ma'am. You said that yes, of course, the higher authorities, the principal or the management system, you know, they need to first of all take up some steps to come ahead. They need to implement some of such resources which can get implemented into their school, right? Of course, the same way, the same concern is happening here as well. As far as failures are concerned, the things get trickled. Now, how it gets trickled? If the acceptability is there amongst the admin staff, that yes, even if any failure would happen in any of the new researches, in any of the new innovation into the classroom, we are accepting it, right? And if that acceptability is there at a higher watch, right, on higher tables, that trickles down, then teacher accept. Teacher says my higher authorities, they have given me the freedom that I can go for some new approaches and I can test anything new or innovative into my classroom, and I can surely make that learning happen, so I can try new things. So then it trickles down, the acceptability comes there, so no fear of failure, right? Then the same acceptability will trickle down to students. Students are accepting that my teacher is there to help me out if I am trying this new things, maybe in a new manner which even my teacher had not even thought of, in some more innovative manner. And if I'll bring up something new into the classroom doing my work, my teacher is not going to do say something, even if it would be wrong, even if I would fail into it, right? So the student become confident. So that has trickled down to the student. Now, talking about my fourth component as well, that is parent. Now, here comes again the role of parents. Student is going back home and saying that mom or dad, I have got this project or this activity or this homework or this work to be done, and I'm going to do with my this innovation. And even if the parent says, no, you're not to do this way, because this work is not to be done in this manner, you have to follow this path, but the child is very much confident that no, mom, my teacher is accepting everything. She has freely said us that you can go for any of the innovation. It won't matter even if you will come out as a failure, right? So the fear just wipes out from the minds of parents also. So there it gets trickled. So that is the thing which is happening. Then exactly that innovation surely 101% would happen into the classrooms, into the mindset of each and everybody, if that fear of failure would not trickle down right from the higher table to the parents, right? So this is the major thing. When children, they worry that they are making so many mistakes, or possibly falling out something, or some emotional fallout also. It can be very difficult to manage when some emotional fallout happens into the classroom. First of all, the child is getting failed. No, I'm not gonna to do something good. I'm not gonna to approach something new, inferential approaches, right? So the cognitive state of mind, it gets into the failure. So that audacity to say no to the
Just
teacher,
sum
that
up.
no, I
I'm
am ready,
sorry,
right?
Pooja. Pooja,
Yes,
sum
ma'am.
up, please. Sum up.
Yeah, sure, sure. So the same thing I was just saying, that the methodology, of course, it should happen. Acquisition, of course, it should happen. Adaptability, of course, it should happen. But it will all trickle down right from the higher tables to the even the normal room of the house. So that acceptability should happen, and then there won't be any fear of failures amongst anyone else, and we can surely embrace it.
Okay. So one of the things that came up here is that to conquer fear. I think we have
Yes.
addressed this. I also said every failure is a stepping stone to success. And we have to get the children not to look at failure as a failure. I would even suggest that teachers, when they write the report card, student needs improvement, avoid. To be avoided, you can write not yet. Not yet reached the norms. Needs improvement is negative. Is not yet reached. There is hope. Anyway, we are really, really short of time. So I would want each of you, I will ask you a question. In 2 sentences, you will tell me what you think. Let's see. Uma, community involvement in child's education.
I feel that is definitely important, and what I'm going to share is what we practice in our school. Ma'am, as you said, 2 lines. I'll just talk. Yeah, 2 seconds. I'll just talk about two approaches. One thing is we have decided to call the local artisans. Okay, ma'am. So the
Yeah.
potters, the weavers, everyone, and we have a plan, and we have included this in the curriculum. So we have decided to have the local artisans. That is one way of getting children involved in community, in the local community. The other thing is what we do is in all schools we have our school garden. So the vegetables that we get from our school garden, we take it to different homes where they use this food to prepare these vegetables to prepare their lunch or whatever it is. And children also have their no lunch or tiffin or whatever it is with them, ma'am. So maybe these
Okay.
two are the things that we are doing. And one more thing, we are also planting saplings, and they feed the stray dogs, no, like nearby, and then they also give food for the needy, ma'am. So these are some of the things that we do because it helps them to learn the culture. They are able to tackle the challenges. They come to know about the different this thing. Ma'am, one more thing, we always involve our stakeholders. We have Mom and Me project, and we have parents visiting the school. They can be there in any class to know what is happening. And parents also act as a resource person. Okay. And then even assembly talks parents do. And it is not only parents, we also involve the community people. And we have a lot of our alumnus in there. So they are also coming to our school, ma'am. So to talk about the
And you also have Dakshin Chitra, which is in Tamil Nadu. So you can always refer to the
yeah,
artisans who come from there to visit
yes,
your
yes,
school
yes.
from all over
Okay.
India. Okay,
Yes,
next
ma'am. Yes,
question
ma'am.
to Navinder. Navinder, next question to you. How did pedagogy directed learning hinder or progress the learning process during the COVID time?
Okay, so here I will take two examples, ma'am, two pedagogies. One is the flipped classroom pedagogy, and the other is the design thinking process pedagogy. Now, when I am talking about this, the flipped classroom pedagogy means that you give a pre-read material to the child, they read it at home. So reading becomes a habit. NAS, as our evaluation that we have taken for grade 3, 8, and grade 5 and 8, we have found that reading was little a bit toward the lower side. Now this is something that as a school we should reinforce reading for all the textbooks, because innovation will only happen when they have the ground foundation of the knowledge. Only then they will go beyond the textbook. So reading should be one of the habit that we have. Pre-read material is something that important we should give to the student to study at home during the evening time, so that we utilize their evenings also. Also, if I talk about something related to research work, because in flipped classroom when we give a pre-read, we can also give a trigger for the child to research, to start thinking innovatively, and so that I can have a discussion in my classroom next day. The other thing that I want to talk about here is the design thinking process. That is a strategy which we all can do. If we are not equipped as a school with our teachers for that process, something that we can use as a professional expert help, that is important, because time to come is all about design thinking. Everywhere if we go, everywhere we are talking about design thinking, not only into education scenario but also to the work environment or the corporate environment. Now here
Okay,
it is
thank you.
important.
Thank you, Ravinder. I need to move on. I'm sorry.
That is
Pooja,
it.
a question to you. What are the rising trends that bring innovation in education? Current rising trends. You want time to think about this?
I'm sorry, this question was for Pooja or?
This was for Pooja, yes. Manjit, I'm giving you the last slot. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Can you just
Yeah.
repeat your
Can you
question, please?
speak on that? Positively,
Yeah,
two
sure.
sentences. Two sentences.
I'll
Your first sentence begins now.
just repeat your question once, please.
What are the current rising trends that can bring
Okay.
innovation in education?
That's quite difficult to tell about, because lot many people, they have lot many other interests. So if I just talk about, of course, Google room is in trend, of course, wherein teachers, they are applying lot of learning strategy. Kahoot is one of the thing which is happening. Then Everedo is one of the thing. Then I had learned about Pocket also. So this is one of the app which, precise some of the things wherein the students, they learn to make notes and to pass it to others. But here,
Right.
of course, Kamala ma'am, I would surely add one thing. It's not
Okay.
only about the apps or the tools which we learn about. It's all about the achievements and skill and effort. The more effort you put in, the more skill you grab, the achievement is there on your door. Simple.
Yes. Manjit, you are the closing speaker today, the last person to speak. How do we help change the teacher's mindset by encouraging innovation in education?
So, the very first sentence, be the change yourself, be the role model, be like the Japanese school principal, whose video is trending these days as he's leading his children in an exercise routine. Children can exercise, school is fun, teachers and children all can dance and be great. Share a lot of your anecdotal records with the teachers, with the children, and show them the results. Like, for example, how I dealt with my substitute periods. If I knew about it, I would use the flipped classroom technology. If I didn't, well, I had a history class, French Revolution. What I did, I just picked up, opened one of my shoes and told the children, okay, we are beginning in the shoes of Napoleon, right? So I made good use of the time period. And this is innovation. It doesn't need technology. A shoe is not technology, right? Then, when I said, okay, now if I tell all of you to give me a round of applause, let's see you do that. All of you, all five of us, please give me a round of applause. Yeah, right. So I told them, no, let's go this way. It's a round of applause. All right. So when I did this, I sowed the seed. After that, children came up and said, ma'am, chapati clap,
There
right?
you go.
That other one came up and said, ma'am, no, Ukraine clap, right? And the other one came and said, COVID clap. Ma'am, no contact, we are not going to touch, right? So that's how, sow the seed of innovation, thinking differently, thinking design in the children. And last, ma'am, one huge point I want to make for all the teachers, for orange slates, and for all the principals over there. We talk about taking up entrepreneurship for our children, right? We give them the facility, we even give them the seed capital. Have you thought about doing that for our teachers, right? Teachers always shy away from finances. Teachers shy away from profitability and aspects like that. And if they learn what is entrepreneurship like, it need not be about profits, but it needs to be about experience. Why not give them this opportunity also? Why not make it mandatory that you also have to do an entrepreneurial project, and they learn from it? And look at the learning. What you learn, you can easily dispense. It's like भूखे पेट किसी को खाना नहीं दे सकते आप. I feel we need to make our teachers also practice every aspect of innovation before they can go about and coach their children on the same. Over to you, ma'am.
Yep. Thank you. So we've just got 5 minutes to go. So let me just recap whatever you have said so far. A lot of discussions have happened, and couple of things that have made an impact. We are all people who are thinking pro teachers also here, not just students. We are thinking of the teachers, because investing in a teacher is going to help us in getting future citizens who are better than what they are today. Is that some of the things that you mentioned? Investing in teachers? and
Absolutely.
encourage the teachers to collaborate and get over their fear. Anybody can take anything from anywhere. Share it. Only when you share it will you grow. These are some of the things. And develop competencies. This is the most critical and the most difficult part. Why should I do anything? I have worked for 30 years. अभी रिटायरमेंट होने को आया अभी सिखाते हो आप मुझे. How do you get this teacher to innovate? Forget innovation. How do you get this teacher to follow the norms? Difficult. Difficult. Now that's how my hair has turned white. Jokes apart. Jokes apart. It's difficult to get teachers to handle large classrooms. And we have all gone through it during online period. And teachers are all happy that the children are back in class because they don't have to worry about somebody, keep the video on, I can't see what you're doing. We don't need to worry about that. And also, another thing that came to light is parents are hovering around. To be able to control the parents, to be able to control the children is our problem. We need to do that. We can't just say the parents are not letting me teach. Parents are as anxious about teaching as you are. I remember one incident that I had. My pre primary parents wanted cursive writing to be introduced in the junior KG. Can you believe that? I put my foot down. I said, it's going to be no cursive writing. There was huge furor, but I think somewhere later on they realized cursive writing is not just long joint handwriting. Cursive writing is different. They accepted it, and then there was peace. So, somewhere, orientation of parents is also equally important. The bottom line, somebody has written here, learning never stops. It starts from the cradle and goes on to the grave. Keep learning and keep growing. There are a couple of questions which I would throw it open to the panel. They like to know how we can incorporate integration in the higher classes. I think it has been answered by Navinder and also by Manjit. Now, the question here, there was another question. Difference between teacher and an educator. Yes, Uma, you want to answer? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I think you're on mute. I can't hear you.
Ma'am. See, the difference between the teacher and the educator, I have not Googled, and what I am saying is not there in dictionary. Okay, this is my own, maybe the definition, or this I have evolved out of my experience. Okay, because basically I'm a maths teacher, and even now I teach teachers. Okay, teacher is maybe she will stand in the forefront, and she is there high in the podium, and she is going to be giving knowledge. Okay, but an educator is, I think it's more like a facilitator, and the important thing is she has to be a co-learner. Okay, so that is an educator, because every day, see, even from this session, okay, we have learnt a lot. So a I won't call her even as a teacher. She is a facilitator, and she has to be a co-learner. She is not the only storehouse of knowledge. Ma'am, the mantra that we have in our school is teach from known to unknown. Okay, so that is the reason why I'm saying children know a lot. Okay, the teacher should develop the spirit of being a co-learner. What is that I have to learn from my students today? And at the same time, she should be also giving, sharing the learning. At the same time, it is not even sharing the learning, it is making the child to learn. And ma'am, what I insisted, it is not the lesson plan, it is the learning plan. Lesson plan is for the teachers, learning plan is for the students. Okay, and maybe as a maths teacher, what I always do is, though I know, like, depend on procedural teaching, end of the day, what is that I give for my teachers? Because as a maths teacher, I give a lot of homework. But when I'm having a session or when I'm giving a session for my teachers, what is your take home? Because I'm very much interested in the take home. So my take home is all of us have to be a co-learner, and learning can never stop. We can learn from each and everything, and maybe the bringing out the attitude of learning to learn is one of the prime qualification of an educator. So how we can cultivate the attitude of learning to learn, that is one of the important attitude the educator has to give to the to the students. Ma'am, this is my own personal
So I
derivation, ma'am.
endorse it. And since we are running short of time, I just want to add one more sentence to this. One of the
Okay.
professors from Singapore said, I believe the teachers will sometimes keep the children awake, sometimes make them go to sleep, sometimes interested. But the educator is one who makes the children hungry for more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
Correct.
that's what we need to do. Get them
Correct.
hungry for more. With this, I
One more question. We have one more question, okay? And this has been since start of the panel discussion that we had. So we are
yeah.
talking about innovation, and we spoke about integrated learning, and we spoke about differential approach and flip and so on. Just one question that has come up very importantly is how to plan for innovation. I know we have touched base on it in bits and pieces, but if we can have
Okay, ma'am.
some
Would you like to take
culmination,
this?
yeah,
I will take it up, ma'am.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would, begin with the last sentence, what Pramila ma'am has said, that an educator is one who has hunger for it, who just develop the hunger amongst the children. So innovation is not such thing which is one day process, which we can learn in one day. The skill cannot be developed in one day. That hunger should be so persistent and so flowing that should never end. The moment you have developed your mind, my dear friends, that yes, you are to be a learner every day, with every dawn of day and with every dusk of day, you are to tell yourself that today you have learned this new thing. You are an innovative person, right? So make your every day a new day, so that something new should happen, every time. That's
All
all.
right.
No one to
Now they want it to be a little more specific. Let's say, for instance, you want to teach a concept of pollution in Delhi. Okay. So now it's easier for you to say, okay, what are the various causes? List it out. All right, what makes this? Okay, how do we solve this? So instead of that, if you were to come up with a new technique of teaching, there is an element of interest that is generated, and the child would be interested, and you have innovated, and your job is done. All that you
Yes.
need to do is to keep an open mind and learn and be interested in bringing in some amount of interest in the life of the children and the joy for learning. That's the
Exactly,
beginning of
exactly,
innovation.
exactly, exactly. That's
That's the
that's
beginning of
absolutely true.
innovation.
Absolutely true. The same
Ma'am,
I
just
said,
to add on to it,
learning to
as
happen.
no, you
Yes,
wanted,
ma'am.
Brushali, you want an exact answer. So, just as if language is a skill, what are the sub skills? Listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So, if innovation is a skill, what are the sub skills? As ma'am was saying, curiosity, interest, joy. So once you have these sub skills over there, achievement and trial and error, put those sub skills into your lesson plans and lesson learnings, and then there you have innovation for sure.
And
Yeah,
as I
so of
had already
course,
said,
these literary terms, of course, we can add it up, for sure. Because sometimes, if our mind is framed that we have to go for some literary term, only then we can work up. Of course, that should happen. Then, of
one
course, that
minute,
should
then
be the
Navinder
basic.
wants to say something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, to be very precise with the action plan for innovation, we should have very innovative strategies. So, blogs, podcasts, videos, ebooks, gamification, simulations, then recorded lectures, storytellings, scaffolding to be done, hybrid learning to be done. So these are some of the things that we should include into our plan for innovation. Jigsaw techniques to be included into that. Then if I'm talking about data analytics, that is for sure which should be our topmost priority into any of our innovation plan, because that is something that is totally missing. Then STEAM is something that we should incorporate at a very junior stage with our primary classes itself. STEAM has to be there. Then if I talk about VR, so teaching with VR is something that we can look into. There are many applications, there are many things which are free source, which are available online, so you can just look into it. Then we can also look into many things like virtual field tours. Like I will give you an example, Google Street View has a virtual field tour. That can be an excellent way of innovations to the students, bringing innovations to the students. You know, any history topic or any something related to science simulations, you can do a lot of things, and it is you have to pay from your pocket. Everything is available free of cost also. Some of the things, not everything, some of the things are available free of cost into the Google. You just have to have good set of teachers who are innovative enough to do research and put it into their teaching plan and technology plan of the school. That is important. That's it,
And
ma'am.
Ma'am,
the
Pramila, ma'am, one
bottom
last
line
point.
is this.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Just 1 minute,
Sorry,
Pooja. Yes, Uma?
sorry, ma'am. See, for
Go ahead.
innovation, we can also include journal writing, ma'am. That is very, very
Yes.
important. And as Naveendan ma'am said, there is a site called O Labs where you can even take children to virtual tours, and then lot of experiments are being done, ma'am. So that is
Yeah.
also a lot for innovation. Teachers can use
So
those
the
things for,
bottom line is
yeah,
willing to learn, willing to
yeah,
share, willing to
exactly,
yeah.
innovate.
What is
exactly,
that? Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Unless and
All
correct,
right.
until we are not
Over
correct,
ready to
correct,
learn, we will
to,
not be able
correct.
to. These all things are, it will be just lined up. That's it.
yes. Over to you, Vrishali. Thank you for
Awesome.
giving
This
us this
was
opportunity.
Thank you for being here, and thank you so much, Dr. Pramila, Dr. Manjeet, Uma ma'am, Pooja ma'am, Navinder ma'am. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, dear participants. I hope we are able to uh, give some insights on how you can create the culture of innovation in your classroom. Of course, it's just 90 minutes. We cannot cover everything. So, yes, you can keep
Yeah.
on asking, you can keep on sharing your questions. You can write to us at support@orangeslates.com, and we'll definitely bring to you more and more sessions for this. Once again, thank you so much, dear panelist, moderator. Thank you so much. Tomorrow, so today was the culture of innovation. Tomorrow, we have one more interesting and important panel discussion on integrating competency based learning in curriculum. So we have posted the link here. You can check learnfest.orangeslates.com. You can go there and register for tomorrow's panel as well. You can subscribe on this channel so you will get notification when we go live. This is going to be live on YouTube tomorrow again. And of course, like I said, this is the start of a mega learning festival. Today is day one, tomorrow is day two. And the main event is on 25th and 26th of June, where we are going to have series of sessions focusing on integration and innovation in curriculum. So thank you so much once again. See you there tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and please take care of yourself and always keep learning. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, Vrishali. It was a session on innovation. Can we end it innovatively? Can we have the innovators behind the scene come up and just say hi to all of us and to all the viewers who are still there?
Absolutely.
Vrishali,
Vishal,
Sindhu,
Sindhu,
Vishal, got you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
we'll have
For
the
We're,
giving
we're
innovation.
just
all
the few of the many out there.
effort and losing a bit of your hair over it, but it's all going to be worth it.
Absolutely.
Gray hair also, but yeah, it's
Absolutely.
good.
So
It's worth
pumped
it.
up.
It's worth it.
So energizing. Thank you so
So,
much.
so great job done by Sindhu, Vishal, and Vrishali. Yeah.
And
And
entire
many
Orange
more.
State team, we are here for
COVID
you.
clap.
Yes.
Yeah.
COVID clap.
This is the
COVID.
oval.
No, we'll do the classroom clap. This one, the school clap. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you
So
so
much.
much.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Bye.
you,
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Pramila
everyone.
ma'am, for